Okay, what's up, everybody? It's Coach here for Family Gamer 777. I'm coming to you with another awesome installment of our Deadzone Monthly. And we are joined today by my cohort, Rob, from the Deadzone
Yeah,
podcast.
yellow.
And we got a special guest, Adam Tremblay, from 17 different podcasts that he runs. It's More and More Radio and Miniature Mountain and Strike Zone and all that good stuff. So say what's up.
Hey, thank you very much for having me on the show.
Awesome. Awesome. Oh, let me mute myself here. Okay, awesome. So hopefully we get a bunch of people can help us out today. And I think Jack should be coming in soon. So we'll just have it there. The chat is open. I hope it works. I'm going to check back and forth from YouTube. And hopefully it'll come through. So what we're discussing today is it's just so fluffy. And what that means is it more better or is it more advantageous to run a fluffy list or a W.A.A.C list, which is a win at all costs? So depends on what kind of player you are. Maybe we'll go across, see who does what. I know Jack's answer already, and even though he's not here, but let's start with the rookie. What do you think, Adam? When you're making a list, is it W.A.C or is it fluffy?
Oof, that's really tough. Personally, I do enjoy winning, like a lot of people, but I am thankful just to get games in all the time. So it's definitely a balance between the two. I try to pick a list that I think both me and my opponent will have a fun time playing against. But a lot of the time, you play to win, but I want to make sure that it's still a fun experience for both myself and the person across from the table. So.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so would that be you're kind of skirting the answer there, man. What do you think, fluffy or?
Refuse the answer.
Okay, I definitely would. If I have to choose a particular side, I would say more on the competitive side because, I think at the end of the day, when they put out a game for you to play, you want to play the game, right? Fiction is fantastic, but sometimes it just gets in the way of a balanced game experience. So I definitely would choose, if I have the choice between a super narrative game versus a game that's just fun to play with mechanics, I would choose the mechanics, I think. Yeah. So win at all costs. There we go.
Win at all costs? Absolutely. Sounds good.
Yeah.
So let's go to Rob. What do you think, Rob?
I'd like to answer the Canadian answer right in the middle, just like Adam. Well, the truth is, if I'm playing win at all costs, I'm terrible at it because I haven't won a Deadzone game yet. So
I feel like that too, Rob.
I must be playing fluff lists. No, I do like building lists based on something. Like, as we can see in our team building exercise, I always start with like an idea of what I want. It may turn out to be good, but most likely it's just because, hey, I wanted all fighters this time, or I wanted all Yindish or something. I go for a theme. So I'm definitely fluffy.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So where's Jack? He was just here. What happened?
That guy.
That guy, huh? All right. Well, for myself, I like I got an answer for the fluff. And what I mean by that is, if I'm making a list, I'm trying to make the list that is the most, I don't want to say devastating, but I kind of try to make an all-comers list. So if, let's say for argument's sake, you're playing a game, and especially Deadzone, you want to make sure you have some AP buster, something that's going to shoot, suppression, something that's going to keep the head down, and maybe a little bit of combat. Now, some of the factions you can't do that, but I think that all in all, I think the all-encompassing list. So, but if it's in there, if it's in the book, then it's, I guess myself, I consider it fluffy. Now, I like to win, like Adam was saying. I just want to be able to not win at all costs, but win more than I lose. And so when making a list, I like to make it a more well-rounded. And if that would go against the fluff, that would go against the fluff. So now, next question. You're making a list. You go fluff. You take let's take Plague for example. You take stage 1, and I think I figured it out. It's 32 zombies.
It sounds like a Johnny P list to me.
Right, or that's something like Jack would run. Is that a fluff list or a whack list? Is that something that's like, because it's almost impossible to kill all those zombies. It's almost impossible, and I've tried. And
I think it's the intent. Did you build it to be unstoppable, or did you build it just to have fun? Like Jack builds those kind of lists, and he's doing it to have fun.
Right. Well, Jack admits that he's doing it to be a dickhole.
Well, he just says that. He's a softie at heart.
Right. So is that a fluffy list, or is that a a fluffy list, or or win at all costs?
It's a tough one because when you're playing a game, you're playing within the sandbox that the game provides, right? So on one hand, you could say it's a win-at-all-costs list because it's creating a negative play experience for the person across from the side of the table.
Right.
But on the other hand, the game allows you to do it, so why shouldn't that player be rewarded for coming up with that idea, even though it's not really an original idea, but it's still thematic in a sense because it is a bunch of zombies. Like that's what you would do is take a bunch of zombies, right?
Right.
And also, if somebody's playing that, you can build an army to destroy that army. All you have to do is get striders, and believe me, I've been playing against some zombies, and they're pretty soft once you get some guys on them. You just have to have frag or flamers. Flamers against zombies is like the best thing ever.
Right. But here it goes. So now you're so if we're talking the concept of Deadzone, you kill with flamers and it burns and some blast weapons and whatnot, and if there's 30 zombies, you kill 15 the first round, you get absolutely nothing for it.
Yeah, but you just table them eventually. Like you're going to kill all those zombies.
Yeah. Well,
it might take
yes
you a few
and
rounds.
No. I think part of the problem is the scenarios too, right? Because if they have enough zombies to camp an objective, and let's say they just have to kill 1 or 2 of your guys, and on top of that, control a zone for X amount of time, they'll control pretty much every zone on their side of the table. So I can see, not getting any points at all. It's just more of a kind of a quirky frustration of the system, I think.
Right. I think that when you're doing stuff like that, it's very tough to win. Especially your partner, because like I said, it's just so much. It's just so much that that you can do. It's almost so much that you can damage you can dish out. I was playing the other day. We were doing a quick game, me and Andrew, and it was Pathfinders, who I feel now in the new edition, actually in the new edition, this is the first edition they're out. But with the 4+ shoot and their tag ability and I took a Pathfinder Sergeant, so I was lighting people up left and right. It was really hard to get through, and I think he took like 20 zombies, and it was really hard to get through. And plus, he took Striders, so it was a big mishmash. But that's a very that's a real annoying thing to play with,
And I think when you think of game balance, a lot of the time, game balance, like the purpose of it is to prevent, again, this like negative play experience. Because really, you have to think about what's the experience that list is creating. Is I only can approach it one way, and that's by killing the zombies. But then I'm not being rewarded by killing the zombies. I'm wading through them, I guess you could say. And certain armies can deal with killing lots of stuff, where other armies clearly, they have a different play style, so they won't, they'll be hard countered by the zombies. So I think that's part of the problem with the list, is that even though it is very thematic, it doesn't have that balanced feel to it. It's very much like it reinforces that negative aspect of playing against it, where if you took, let's say, even if you said it was worth 0.5 of a point, like half of a point for killing a zombie, that would still be a more enjoyable experience than playing 0-point zombies.
Right. I just think the zombie thing is still. I know it's easy to kill them now that they're not tough and they're still vulnerable. They lost tough and they are 6+ to save. But I think it's still, that the fact that I've always said it, the fact that they can hold objectives, and it's not that they're downloading something, whatever, but just that they're on an objective. I always said, and I even said it to the rules committee, I think that them holding objectives is not. It's not a good thing. They should be able to deny an objective. So let's say I want to get this objective. There's 2 zombies down there. I don't fully get it until I kill them or get them off the objective. Mm. But with and also the 0 points killing them is really tough. It's hard to deal with, and it's hard to just play against.
Yeah, nothing should be 0 points. I think that's just dumb.
I think this actually, so Andy brought up a really good point about his first Deadzone tournament, where he felt like the objectives reward killing too much, and I think that this is kind of what we're seeing here is the problem with that system is that something like the zombies, really abuses that system of because when you're holding control points, the objectives, you're getting victory points, which is the same as killing models. So I almost think they should do 2 separate points. So if you kill models, you get victory points, but if you're holding objectives, you get control points. And maybe change the different values. So you need, I don't know, a lot more victory points to win versus control points, but the control points are really hard to hold on to.
Well, that was in version 1. They had control the objective, and then there was another one where you would control, if you were on the objective, you were good, but then that was capture, and then control the objective meant that every square around you had to be empty from an enemy, and Deadzone is such a small board, it's almost impossible to get that done. Yeah. I mean, capture was easy, control was just, I would deny the objective by being 1 cube away.
Yeah. Or I guess the other alternative is making, because right now the objectives are just 1 cube size. Why not make just the zone be 2 cubes wide, and not have what you said where everything has to be empty adjacent. Get rid of that rule from the first game, and just have it be if there's no enemies in these 2 cubes that are right next to each other, then you're golden. But then if somebody steps in or toes in, then or I guess has to be in the cube. I guess not toe into the cube. Then they would get a control point, and let's say. You'd get 6 control points to win the game, and you would get, I don't know, arbitrary number, 12 victory points of killing stuff is the other way to win. Just a thought.
Well, but I agree with that in the cube with the objective is okay. I don't know about the surrounding one because, a guy can move and not get into the cube, so he's not in combat with you. And if he's next to the cube, he's stuck there. So that means that I'll get the objective points for that particular that round. So I kind of think that's okay. I don't think the surrounding cubes would be good. But as far as the zombies, we were thinking of playing something where every 3 zombies you kill, you get a point.
Yeah, or every 2 or something.
Yeah, something like that. You keep a running total, because it just I mean, the other day I killed 12 of them and I got nothing for it. And I know in one of the secret missions you can get 1 point per kill, but I didn't have it.
Yeah.
So odds are stacked against you. Or let's say, let's say another fluffy list. You take a general and 30 dogs, right?
These dogs are a point, though, right?
Yeah.
Right.
That's almost
the dogs are a point apiece.
Yeah. So at least you can kill them.
Right.
Zombies, this shouldn't be 0 points. I think that was a mistake off the bat. That was from the first version where zombies weren't in the army, so they weren't 0 victory points. That was the thing. Now that they're part of an army,
NPCs in that first one.
But now that they're part of the actual army, they should be 1 or, like you say, half a point or something.
Or be more be more survivable, be more expensive, but then again having them, cost a point.
Yeah, would be their solution. But once again, fluffy-wise, I think you should be able to spam zombies. They should be spammed.
Well, I mean, if they're 10 points, they're still spammable.
Well, they're 6 points. They're the most. I think they're the most efficiently pointed and efficient unit in the game right now.
Oh yeah, right now I'm just saying, like, if you bumped them up even to double their cost, it'd still be worth taking.
Right.
Mass amounts.
All right, so
hey, look who's here.
Jack is here. Jack, we're going to pose the question to you. When you're playing your army, are you a fluffy guy or you're a W.A.A.C guy, which is win at all costs?
I don't really care about winning. I would go for a fun army that I like the mechanics of the things, and even if I can, just enjoy playing. So between the two, I'd have to say fluff. Put me on Team Fluffy.
Yeah, you are fluffy.
I am right in my midsection.
Oh.
Oh, too bad I don't have a drum set here. I can have a snare in it.
Yeah. Don't give me sound effects. Where's Pat?
Yeah, right. So what? So we were saying we were talking about a few of your things. What was your dog list?
Oh, it was. I was a stage 3 general, Wrath, and then 25 plague dogs. That was just for the hell of it.
Okay.
What the hell is Rob doing?
I'm trying to turn it off now. It won't turn off.
What?
I was trying to find sound effects, and they put headwear on me.
Is that how it's going to be? That's what it's going to be tonight?
Is it?
I can't turn it off.
So hold on. So you took 25 dogs.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
Right.
And I basically Zerg rushed an Iron Ancestor to death, which was fun.
Took a while. Took a long while.
Yeah, but it happened, and I was happy about that. And
I made the mistake of breaking away, so he got another charge in on me. I probably should have just stood and let him just take the iron, waste time killing the Iron Ancestor. But
it could have went either way, I think.
But I think even before that, though, you did damage me, so it was still possible. Jack at the time was, even so much lately, but at the time he was rolling every time he'd roll 5 8s. It would just explode, explode, explode. How else would you damage an Iron Ancestor, Jack? That's the only way to do it.
See, this guy, he's a W.A.A.C guy. He's competitive. This one right here, he loses his full mind.
Was that the time you were? He was texting me about how to beat Nastanza because Nastanza was too OP and all that stuff. And
no, that's the other time he brought. This guy is supposedly fluff list. He brings mercs every time, and
I have brought a merc twice, and both times basically they didn't do much.
No, Nastanza didn't.
Yeah, can't get fluffier than a special character, Rob.
Yeah, except for when it's a plague list with these special characters, it makes no sense. That's the only problem with mercs right now is that certain mercs playing with the plague is kind of strange.
What I found really interesting is that when I bought the 2-player starter set for Deadzone, they had a little brochure for Warpath, and inside of that was a little brochure for Deadzone, and they listed mercs as the faction you could play.
Oh yeah.
In the game, they listed it like that. I was like, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the things Ronnie wanted to do. He was saying that you should be able to take a few mercs as a faction in general. Just take it mercs. So I was saying, that's not a terrible thing.
Oh no, I think that's excellent. I just with the rules of the way they are now, it's I don't think you can build a faction out of them now, can you?
No, you need troops and you need
leader as well. Yeah.
Well, you only let one merc per army, so you could have a faction, but it'd be one merc.
Then if you take Infestation, you take an elite list, you could take a merc as a leader, and therefore he would be.
You get 2 then, yeah.
Right. So you can actually take 2 mercs. One is your leader, and the other one's just kind of
hanging out.
He's there for the ride,
Yeah.
And some of them, that'd probably still be a pretty good army.
Right.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
they keep mentioning that Mercs book. Maybe that's in the future where Mercs can be its own faction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah,
Hopefully it
maybe.
happens.
Mhm.
Because they do have that shock trooper was considered a mercenary, wasn't it? And the
Yeah.
Hund. So maybe they could be the troops, kind of. Have a bunch of
Mhm.
Huns and a bunch of shock troopers.
Now, in the beta though, in one of the betas, the shock trooper was actually an elite for the Rebs.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah, I don't know how it worked out finally. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like, you know, it ended up that it was the, you know, the Rin Nomad, the Saphir Lancer, and they forgot to put the Teraton in.
Yeah,
Which
is
was-
he nothing now? Is it just a Merc, right?
I think he's a straight up. He's just a merc.
Yeah.
Mm.
Probably works only for Rebs, though.
Let's see. I don't think so. I think it works for anyone.
Oh, nice Plague Teraton shock trooper. That'd be awesome.
Is that what you're painting currently?
I am painting the shock trooper actually.
Any except Plague and Veerman.
Yeah, there you go.
So they can work for the Enforcers. Wow.
That's kind of strange, but whatever.
I heard there's going to be a Deadzone expansion in October.
Yeah. Did you hear that on Beast of War today?
No, that was on. It actually was in the blog itself.
No,
Okay.
In the Universe Expands blog, I believe they mention, because they're gearing up for Warpath, right? So they had kind of snuck in at the bottom there, like, oh yeah, there's something, it's to coincide with the, Deadzone thing towards October. So it's like, oh, interesting.
Now we're gonna
And,
get it. Are we gonna get it in October? Or
That's the thing, because Mantic, they say July, but they really mean like the beginning of like August.
Right.
Like
Or-
for everything
yeah.
they do.
At least a
Jack,
month behind.
Jack, what do you think about that?
I'm looking for Warpath, and if we can get what's in Warpath on time, then I'll be happy with that. Any releases or anything like that, I'm not too worried about.
On Beast of War, they did mention something about a Dungeon Saga type game for Warpath universe, which is kind of cool.
Well, when I interviewed Ronnie, I say, what about Dungeon Saga in space? And he goes, just stay tuned.
Yeah, so he kind of announced it, I think, at the Gen Con when they got interviewed. So
Yeah. So they were.
yeah.
Well, he basically told me afterwards. He's like, he says it's definitely on the list of everything. It's at the top of the list.
well, I think that would be a no-brainer. Right?
Yeah, but I mean, it might be a year in the making that we don't know about.
Yeah, I assume it'd be Kickstarter because that's a perfect Kickstarter, just a box game, and that'd be the best.
Speaking of Kickstarters, we have of course, the Dreadball Kickstarter.
Yes.
And I know a lot of people turned their heads when they heard about it, because it's kind of strange to do a Kickstarter for an existing game, but like a second edition of a game. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
They did it for Kings of War, and then
Right.
Deadzone turned into it, which it wasn't originally supposed to be.
Right.
So I think the success of those two, they're like, money. They're not going to say no to money, so.
The precedent has been set that they are doing it. So
Yeah. But I think a lot of people are turned off because they think that why Kickstarter it again? Especially something that's mostly just books. I can understand if you're like it has 3 more teams, but you have to pay for the mold. But yeah, just for some books, I don't think you need a Kickstarter. But
Now, this Kickstarter, the Dreadball, doesn't seem to be as good as a deal as, say, like the Deadzone Kickstarter that we just went through.
or the Extreme Kickstarter.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it depends on what you want. It's got to be making some people else signed up for it.
Mm.
But what was it at last time I looked? 150,000. That's not very much for Mantic.
Yeah, how does that rank with some of the other ones they've done?
About half.
Well, we were just the other night, we were comparing the Walking Dead, and that was like 650.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, like which I was really surprised because just for the simple fact that it wasn't the show, it was the comic book. So, but I guess the comic book is I guess more people would read
just
the comic
wanted.
book.
No, I
Yeah,
think
but
people. I think just people wanted something Walking Dead. They didn't
Right.
care if it was good. A lot less people
Right.
read the comic than watch the show. That's for damn sure.
But maybe more people who read the comic play tabletop games.
I think it was more for just like I think Rob really hit the nail on the head though. I think it really is just it's such a hot intellectual property right now, and people are just gobbling it up. And I think that was probably more for the success than. Although I have heard really good things about the rule set for The Walking Dead. So who knows?
There's that new board game version out, which is the TV show. If that had come out first, I think it would have killed. Like I think it was whoever came out first. That was the thing.
Yeah.
So.
They even had what was it? A $45 rule set with that one, and you could play any miniature you want. So it was like, yeah.
For the new one, yeah.
Now, not exactly Mantic related, but so Fantasy Flight Games, they unveiled a huge thing at Gen Con this year with regards to fantasy miniature games, because they're going to be releasing, I believe it's Rune Wars, the miniatures game. Like it's their first real like Kings of War-esque.
Like a Mass
miniatures game. Yeah, and it has a lot of similarities with Kings of War, which is why I bring it up. Because they put things into trays and they have action dials, and it's a full-fledged miniature war game as far as I can tell.
From Fantasy Flight.
And they have humans and undead as the starter box.
Classic.
Mm-hmm.
It'll definitely get on more shelves. Fantasy Flight's power is undeniable. So.
Mm-hmm. But this also, I think. Sorry,
but
go ahead.
Fantasy Flight wasn't like that because playing X-Wing, it was almost impossible to get miniatures for a while before they went to partner up with that other company. So it was like, I want to go buy this miniature, and you try to go to your local store or even their website, and everything was always sold out. Always sold out. Now, I guess with the name escapes me, but they're with some other company that helps with that, and their stuff is more prevalent. You can get it more easier.
More easier.
Right.
But yeah, that's important to have content. Well, that was Star Wars too, so that's huge. That'll be bigger than any sci-fi or any fantasy game anybody will come out with. It's got the built-in people, right? People will just buy that just to collect the miniatures.
Mm-hmm.
Now their new game, is it pre-painted or you have to paint it?
I don't know. It is on the I think the press release is on Fantasy Flight right now, and everything is painted in those photos, but that doesn't necessarily mean. I'm pretty sure they're not going to be pre-painted, but it's hard to say.
Yeah, because their Star Wars game, the miniature game, everything was in colored plastic. Imperial Assault.
Yeah.
So you didn't even have to paint it. You just throw it on the table and play.
I bet it'd be similar to that.
Yeah. Apparently, for Imperial Assault, they're coming up with a companion app for that game, which allows you to play against an AI-controlled Imperial player.
Mm-hmm.
So then you can, you and your friends can cooperatively play against, the game, I guess, in that case.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. So now that we run the horn, you want to get back to Deadzone, guys, or?
Yeah.
All right. So let's say fluff list, whack list, or competitive list. What do you think? What would be the difference? Now,
what's the difference between a whack list and a competitive list? Wouldn't that be pretty similar?
So we said, Adam is a whack player, as myself. Jack is a fluff player, admittedly so.
For show.
And he made a joke about his belly. What was that joke?
Do you have it queued up?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Oh, I'm pretty soft. I'm pretty fluffy around my midsection. Oh.
Perfect.
Yeah, smoothly.
So it was. You can't buy timing like that. You know. I mean, also, I like as a competitive player. I guess I'm a whack player. So,
Yeah. But really, isn't the difference between a win-at-all-cost list and a fluff list is just intent?
That's
Really?
what I would think too. Yeah.
Okay, but transition that into a tournament list.
Well, I mean, actually, that's really the key difference is that win-it-all lists only really show up in competitive tournaments because that's the only place you get rewarded for, for bringing that kind of list. Because again, in the casual setting, sure, you bring it the one time, but then your friend is like, well, I don't really want to play against you again. So then you cooperate and you play a game in a list that, both of you love playing and enjoy.
Right.
Yeah.
Like how many times are you going to play the same list?
Right.
Unless you're doing like a run-up for a tournament or something. If you go, hey, got a couple guys over, let's drink some beers, put some sausages on the grill, and play some Deadzone, and that idiot shows up with that same list, everyone's gonna be like,
It happened with, I used to play Magic the Gathering, that would happen. People would just bring the same deck every time and just destroy. It's like, well, that's not fun. Why bother? Play something wacky and fun, or at least change it up a bit. But yeah, some people are like that, though.
In the tournament setting, it's not so bad, right? Because everybody's there for that same purpose, right?
Yeah.
But in the casual setting, you can still have competitive casual games. But again, it all depends. If both players have that same mindset, that's where there's no problems, right?
Yeah, you're all competitive. Yeah.
Right. If you're entering a tournament looking to win the tournament, you're going to bring it. I mean, I know some of you guys said we're going to Adepticon. I don't know if you're going to compete or not for the next tournament because we've been told that there will be a Deadzone tournament next Adepticon. So like I know myself, leading up to the first Adepticon, I wanted to come in there and have my best showing. I really wanted to win the tournament. So what I did was, I brought the Forge Fathers, and at the time they were one of the newest factions, but I don't know if I stacked the deck, but I brought an all-encompassing list. I brought a combat list, I brought some AP to melt some faces off, Forge Guard just to be sure. My leader was a Forge Guard so that he wouldn't get killed, with the intent that I wanted to be survivable. I wanted to win. So, is that necessarily a terrible thing, or is that,
No, that's your point. That's why I think anybody who's into a tournament, nobody goes in not hoping to win. You're not going to, especially if you have to pay money to enter it, you're going to, you want to do something with it. You're not just there to wooden spoon it, I don't think. Like most people wouldn't be, at least.
I mean, people also people enter tournaments for a variety of reasons, right? And part of it is, winning is a component of that. But I mean, ultimately, I think the objective is fun, and a lot of people enter tournaments for the social aspect too, to get out of their basement and to see people that they haven't met before. And I think when you take lists, when you go into a tournament, you know what you're walking into, and as long as you know before going into the tournament that it's going to be an uphill game, then really there shouldn't be really any problems.
well, it's also the thrill of the hunt.
Mm-hmm.
What am I gonna come up against? What am I gonna do? I guess preparing for it, what am I gonna see? What am I gonna have to use against? So bringing an all-comers list is, I think, the way to go as far as the tournament's concerned. So I don't know if you're whack or you're fluffy. The fluff, I don't know. The fluff might work if it's competitive, but if it's not competitive, then it's just a waste of time. For
I think with Deadzone, there's not that many different ways to build an army, and almost all of them can be competitive, especially if you got some hot dice going. So I think you could do a fluff list and still win. Like, it's not impossible. Like, it's not like some games where it's impossible. I I think it's still possible to win with a fluff list in a tournament.
And maybe
And,
bringing something that people aren't anticipating. People go, that's a pretty bold move. That's not going nowhere. But maybe it's something that you can catch people off guard with. Someone might go, hey, that's just a fluff list. But if it's doing the job.
Yeah, I know from my own tournament experience with games like War Machine, 40K, and with like Warhammer Fantasy. Like in War Machine, you can take, 2 lists to a tournament, and then both people reveal their lists, and then secretly choose one of those 2 lists for that particular match. Once they know what the mission is, and the terrain, and how the table's set up, and of course, they do the rolling off for the sides and stuff like that. But I found, like, just from my experience of playing a whole variety of different kinds of tournaments, it was the most enjoyable one because you always felt like, if I chose a bad list, it's because I didn't pick the right list to counter the one that he secretly chose, right?
Yeah. I wonder if Deadzone, since you're supposed to build your army before or after you find out the mission, right?
Right.
I wonder if they'll do that with the tournament. Like, will they give you an option to change your army up a bit? Like, do it like a campaign where you have 300 points, you have to make 150 points or 200 points out of it?
Well, that's how Malifaux works too. Is they build your list after you find out what the mission is.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting. It might just take too long, right?
I think in a tournament setting, you bring your list and the amount of points, and think that's it. But the thing where you're picking a mission for Deadzone. Now I'm gonna get into the fluff, because when you're playing Deadzone, right? What exactly is Deadzone? We're under the assumption that something happens. There's an outbreak of something bad's going on. Planet's off the Navicorp. We shut everything off. There's nobody getting in. There's nobody getting out, other than, let's say, the enforcers. Now we know Marauders sneak in, or the the enforcers, the Marauders sneak in, the Rebs come in. If there's a plague outbreak, well, there's a ton of them on the planet. If there's a vermin outbreak, there's a ton of them on the planet. But if you're stuck in a sector with no backup, that's all you got. And now if you walk into the town or the Deadzone, you got to fight with these guys, which would be 200 points. So it's just so happens that we're stuck at Outpost JX4279, and we're there. We're doing what we have to do, and we got to get from here to there, maybe to a drop-off point or an exit point. And these are the guys that are stuck on the planet in the Deadzone. So I think, fluff-wise, you get your 12 guys. You're stuck with those 12 guys.
And it's up to the tournament. The tournament organizer, I would assume, they could choose to do either way. And we'll just see how they decided it up to come.
Yeah, you know what could be a fun option is kind of a combination of those two ideas, where you take like a 250-point Deadzone list. Like it counts as, I guess what I'm trying to say, it counts as a 200-point army list, but then you have that 50 points of sidebar, which you bring, like before the tournament begins, you have already decided that this is the list you're taking. You bring it into the tournament. And then when you face off against your opponent, you see what he has on his sideboard, and then when you go to deploy your strike force, then you put down the models that you want to put down. It still supports that idea of like, yes, you have limited resources because of what you brought to the table, but you have that customization of like, okay, I know he's Forge Fathers, so maybe I don't want to take my Peacekeepers because he'll just chew through them. Maybe I'll take some more Pathfinders that I've already put in my list. I just swap them out.
The only problem with that is it's the math. Like you'd have to have your tournament organizer like really organized. He'd have to go around and make sure everybody's keeping the right points, because it'd be so easy in Deadzone just to add an extra Reb sniper or something to it, and
unless it was really small, like maybe like 10 or 20 points worth of models.
Yeah, or just say you have 250 in your own, Yeah, it's hard. It's just strange.
Would you make 250 with the force organization chart, taking one leader, one specialist for every, and then the vehicle for the 3 points. You know what I'm saying? Like.
Yeah, that is a good point. Actually, that would mess with the force org rules quite a bit.
Yeah.
Right. So now.
It's a little more complex. Yeah.
Right. Like with my because we used to do that in 40K. The sidebar. So now you're going against Eldar and you're a Space Marine player. Well, then you might want to take a certain unit to counteract that, or you want to take. If you're going against, say, Necrons, you would take a Librarious Conclave on the side just to make sure, because they have no defense against psychic powers. So what is the sidebar? That to me seems like a real pain in the ass for the tournament guy. I think the best thing was, and so in a tournament you get a mission. Everybody's got access to the same amount of points, same amount of missions, same amount of ability to get objectives and whatnot, and no secret missions. Because you can fudge the secret missions like crazy. Yeah.
Keep it simple, just so everybody knows what they're doing, and just sticks to it. Because it gets confusing if the moment you do a little bit extra to it, right?
Mm.
You know what it is that I think those are like, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. So you're going to try to do a lot of different things to make it really cool and stuff. But honestly, a narrative event would be something. A narrative
that's
event.
definitely a huge benefit for the game, is a narrative-focused event. Yeah.
Right, but I'm saying, like, if you're doing a tournament, you win 4 games and you're done, or you win 5 games and you're in the championship round. The simpler way is the better, because you don't have time to mess around with all those cool little ipso factos. You know what I mean? You want to do something where, if you're playing this guy, we have all these environmental factors, and we have this and we have that. I think straightforward would be the way to go. But if you're going to do a, like they were saying at the tournaments, and I kind of look at 40K a lot, because it seems they're well established. The regular 40K and the narrative 40K events are starting to get in almost the same amount of people in each event. So people are saying, like, I don't want to go that hardcore route of tournament play. I want to go hardcore fun.
So it's
I'm bringing a crazy list. Right, and then, certain scenarios and things like that, which might be, might be favorable to other people who want to get another spin on it. I know, like Rob and Jack would dig that. I think you guys would like a narrative spin to a tournament, as opposed to, just smashing faces and going forward.
Yeah, for sure. I think. So we're saying is Adepticon should do both.
Have you heard of Iron Arena?
Iron Arena, no.
Okay, so it's a recent thing that Privateer Press has done for War Machine, where people play games. They get rewarded for doing things in the games, like taking out a leader, taking out things, and these points, like if you win a game, you get a certain amount of points, and you can cash those points in for memorabilia, so things like concept art and I don't know, just random gifts and trinkets and things, pins, and it's super, like, it's more popular than their biggest tournaments.
So basically, if you bring 6 Warjacks instead of the usual 3, you get a piece of concept art you could put on your wall.
It's more like, think of it like a Chuck E. Cheese, where you get a certain amount of money, you get tokens, and when you're playing the games, you're earning more tokens, and you cash in those tokens at the end of the day, and you'll get you can save up for, like, the bigger prizes. Like, some people get exclusive miniatures that are just alternative sculpts for miniatures that exist, and a whole bunch of different weird and crazy stuff.
So it matters less that you won so many games that you did, like, I'm a 5-0 today.
Yeah, it's not about the win ratio. It's more about what did you do in your games, and also how many games did you play.
You participated a lot. You did a lot. You had fun. So here's the reward.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all about meeting people in a casual environment and just having a really fun random encounter with a friend. That's it.
Well, you know, that seems similar to, like, I was talking with a bunch of guys, a bunch of my friends play Malifaux,
Mm-hmm.
and they were saying that, you know, one guy won a game with nobody on the table. And I just thought that was such an alien thought.
Yeah.
You know, like, well, you just got tabled. Well, no, I ended up winning. Well, how'd you win? You know, it's such a crazy thought to me that you know, you got wiped off the table and won the game. You know, I
Yeah,
don't
it
know how
seems
that's.
strange.
Yeah. Also, Malifaux doesn't use dice, so I'm not saying anything. It's a game without dice, so it's hard. I like rolling dice. That's my forte. There's nothing wrong with the alternative, but
It should be
you
like
know,
a Wolf song. They roll dice and use cards.
Oh
It's the
wow.
best of both worlds.
so did Deadzone at one time.
No, this was like actual playing cards, just like Malifaux.
Oh yeah. Well, actually, a friend of mine has an RPG out there. It's called Fortune's Fool, and he uses a tarot card deck for everything.
That's cool.
Yeah. So we're gonna start on Family Gamers. He's actually in England right now. He's gonna come back, and we're gonna do a whole campaign. We're gonna teach everybody how to play it. It's a really it's really cool, and it's weird. And my buddy Rob is like the RPG master. There's not one RPG game like, hey Rob, I was thinking about getting into this. I've played that. Oh, I've played that. So now he calls me up and it's like, I'm thinking about getting into Kingdom Death. What do you think? All right, well, let me explain it to you. So it's like we bounce RPG and mini wargaming off each other. So it works, you know, works out best. It's the one the twin powers activate, you know. All right, guys. So we kind of covered it. So I think Fluffy and W.A.A.C in Deadzone is one of the same. I don't think it's easy to make a distinction because I was thinking about it to say, like, you know, I'm truly a W.A.A.C player. I like to win, man. I'll be honest with you. I'm a competitor. I like to win. You know, I don't put guys on the football field or on the mat or on the rugby field hoping that we just kind of tie. I want to win every game, and I feel the same way in Deadzone. That doesn't mean that when I'm preparing for something, I don't try stuff. Like, Jack, I hate to say this, so just bear with me.
Okay.
Every time you play Eric, he brings pretty much the same exact list. There is no deviation. There is no changing, no anything. And I told him one time, why don't we change it up a little bit just to make it fun? We'll film a battle report of this. He goes, yeah, sure, I'll change it up. And he like took an extra trooper instead of a maw beast. It was like, you know, the slightest of change. And I said, you know, but I understand too. Like, I was playing Andrew the other day. He took a 3, the general, all zombies and 2 striders. And I was like, my goodness. Now that's a flufftastic list if I've ever heard one. And
Jack's taken very similar before.
Oh yeah.
And you know what was the problem? I took the Pathfinders with no AP. So I'm running around trying to open crates to see if there's any AP ammo in there. And it took me 4 rounds of shooting to kill one of his striders. Like, you know, 4 rounds of concentrating on trying to kill a strider, maybe taking a few pot shots at a zombie here and there. But and he had a stage 2, which that had to be killed quick. But that was the fluffiest list, and I says, you know, man, that's a lot of zombies. He goes, what do you want? That's what we do. That's what we do. We're plague. We spread the plague. So now, how about this? What do you think of this? And this is a big, huge thing in tournaments, and this is, I think, one of the topics we could leave all of our millions and millions of viewers out there. What do you think about restrictions in tournaments, as far as putting restrictions on? Let's say, you know, Jack is bringing his Z, Strider, and 25 dogs, but you can only have a maximum of 6 of the same unit. What do you think about, like, restrictions? Adam, you want to hit that one first, and then we'll go across? So, Jack, you want to hit that one?
Yep. No, Jack, are you going or I'm going?
He said both of us, so whatever you.
All right, I'll go. restrictions are, I think, a very slippery slope because on one hand, I can see why a person would want to put like composition in a tournament setting because they want to create the the perception of balance right. But the thing is, shouldn't have that just rather than doing like tournament comp, why not just have it be if something's broken in the game, why not just fix the game? Is my logic. Like like the zombie thing. Like why put a restriction on zombies when the problem could be fixed with an errata and you could take as many zombies as you want? Like I don't like for me, I think that's more of just. I mean, feel free to do composition if you want, but for me, that's kind of the appeal of Deadzone is that you can take what you want and it's thematic kind of no matter what combination you take, in my opinion.
I think it's pretty balanced too. Everybody complains about the zombies, but since they nerfed them, I don't think they're tough anymore. Unless you get 4 in a square, you could deal with them so easily. And if you have frag or grenades or missile launcher, like anything, or suppression, like you can really stop those guys from doing much. So I don't like everybody complains about zombies. I think they fixed them, and they might have overfixed them. They might be too weak now. So I think in general, Deadzone is so balanced. You don't need to do any of that.
Right.
I could see if they said on your list no vehicles or something that they would. I don't know if change how long each game lasts or something like that. I don't think that there's time. I don't think in Deadzone it's an issue.
Yeah.
But if there is a restriction, let's say for argument's sake, like you just said, all right, I'm taking a Pathfinder list. I take the Sergeant, I take 6 Pathfinders, I take 2 dog drones, and I take 2 speeder bikes. That's a 200-point list right there. I myself, I play that list, giving 2 guys defender shields, using the splat, using the tag rule, and I really use it. I show up, and they say no vehicles, and it kills you. Like I was at the tail end of 40K when they were in the 6th edition. There was a psychic power that people didn't like, so they said you can't use that anymore. So I went to the organizer and I said, that's the basis of my army. I need that. And he goes, well, it's too OP, and you got to take it out. And I said, so then why don't you take out melter guns and bolters and any Eldar player because they're OP too. So now you're hampering me and not them. So he goes, well, no, the only reason you're mad is because you use that in your army. I said, I cursed at him and I said, hell yeah. But I said, you're basically handicapping me for no good reason, just that other people don't like it.
And you just happen to play that army.
Correct. So now, if you're going to do that, you say, all right, well, I can't take any vehicles, therefore you can't take any zombies. And you can't take any ciphers because they're overpowered. Well, I mean, they're not, but we know.
But at least zombies, everybody has vehicles. I mean, not zombies, vehicles. Everybody has vehicles, so it's punishing everybody if you say no vehicles.
Right.
Like that's the only difference with that. But I think Deadzone so far doesn't have that issue.
But it wouldn't punish you if you were taking, let's say, you were taking the Asterians and you didn't take any Sky Razors in your list. But if I was taking 2 vehicles on my list and I had to pull them out, well, let's say I take
well, you'd know before the tournament started, I would hope.
Right.
Like it's not like that you're showing up. You could build your army months ahead of time.
Right.
It's
but
not
what
like
I'm saying is,
the same.
right. But that restriction is there.
Well, and vehicles they perform different roles in each faction, right? So like some factions, vehicles are going to be worse than other factions. So by restricting, like again, going back to kind of the zombie example, like if you restrict on zombies, then suddenly all the plague players are, they're not it's not that they can't win a tournament now. It's more of just they're unfairly, not necessarily persecuted, but hindered, I guess you could say, for showing up to the tournament, because they're losing one of their customization options.
Right.
Yeah, like you say, I think Adam's right. They should fix zombies by making them half a point or one VP each. Just that way, that would solve all the problems people have with the zombies. It's just that they're 0 VP, but
yeah.
I think other than that, they're pretty wimpy.
Yeah.
Like dogs are way better.
But nobody has a problem with dogs because they're 1 VP.
Exactly. And same with
Well, that's
like every other faction.
Well, that's like fixing the sniper rifle rule, where everybody was up in arms about the Rev sniper, where it's very simple. Just make the Enforcer sniper AP1 because it's heavy. Anything that's heavy is AP1. The Asterians have it.
Yeah, we discovered the Asterians had it. So why don't they just make the Asterian and the Enforcer the same weapon?
I really think that's the best way to do that. To fix that,
Yep.
That would be
more
gold.
expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But or have two different sniper rifles in the Enforcer army: a light sniper and a heavy sniper.
Right.
But
an AP 9 and an AP 0.
Even AP1 is not very much for a sniper rifle.
You know what? It's just enough. You know, I mean, if you're fighting another Enforcer army getting through AP1, I mean, what's the most armor out there?
2, I think.
Yeah, but I'm not saying Striders. You know, that's a different animal altogether. What's the highest armor? 2,
I
3?
think, I would say 4, like modified, because I think with a Pathfinder, and if you took the Peacekeeper Captain, and you took a Defender Shield, so that would put him at armor 3. And then for that one attack, you could bump it up to, like if you have a splat, you could bump it up to 4, I think.
Right.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
So, but let's say the average would be between 1 and 2. So by taking 1, it would make it a big difference.
Yeah, that's a strange situation to have a shield and, well, it's not strange, but you'd have to set your army up to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Wink,
wink.
It's a way to set it up, for sure.
No.
Defender shields, though, man. Can only have 1, right?
2.
Well, it depends. 2 and 200-point list.
Yeah.
I think you could have 2 at 150.
No, I think you can only have 1. 1 at 150.
That's in the errata.
Oh, in the errata? Okay. Oh.
Yeah,
did they change it, really?
Well, when I interviewed the RC and I said, wasn't that in the book? And it was in the beta, and it was in the public beta that we got. But he said that when they set it up, you know, when you have something on the computer screen, but then you print it and it cuts it off. He said that was the problem with that. The chart wasn't in there.
Yeah, Also, the VP for number point chart was cut out too.
That was the chart that was out. So.
Oh, did it have the rares and everything in that one too?
Yeah, let me see.
Oh, it's on the same chart.
Yeah, I know it was the points for it, but now. Oh no, here it is. So, at 150, you could have 3 common, 1 rare, 1 unique. So yeah, you would have 1 shield. At 200, it's 4, 2 rare, 1 unique. So, yeah. But you know, even a tournament, a lot of guys are playing 150 points, but I don't see why not 200. 200's fine, man. You get through a game in less than an hour.
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah, it's all about speed, but you're right. It only takes about an hour for 200 points.
Coach, you'll go to the grave claiming that there's no reason for a 150-point army.
There is no. It's useless.
From day one, you're like 200 points. That's what it is. That's what it's.
I guess they just arbitrarily decided 150, and then that's a lot of people stuck with. So.
Well, let me ask you a question. I know you're, you're hard pressed to agree with me, but isn't 200 points a sweet spot?
Oh, I didn't say I didn't agree with you. We started playing 200 points, and we haven't looked back.
Right. You're welcome.
We did the 100 when the betas were coming out because that was we were play testing what we were dancing with the woman who brought us. But as soon as we were playing for fun, we went right up to 200 and we haven't looked back.
If not higher, we're looking at higher numbers.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I know you have that board soon. You're going to be making 600 points, but that's going to take forever.
Oh, Jack's working on rules.
Just to bump it up, because the way the Deadzone rules are, they say, okay, the maximum we have here is so many points, and then they don't give a formula to say victory points go up at this progression and this goes up at this progression. It's like a mishmash. So you kind of have to take a step back, go, well, if I do want to play higher than what they recommend, you have to kind of start getting the maths out.
Right. So you cut it in half and then double it.
Well, yeah, that's for everything.
Yeah, instead of saying, okay, for every 150 points, it's 10 VP, they decided it was like 10 VP here, 13 here. You know, it's like some random numbers they decide for the VPs.
I just think 220 is...
Yeah. It should be, yeah. Divided by 10. Whatever the points is, divided by 10 is the VPs.
Right.
That's so easy, right? But they don't do that.
All right, guys. So we've been gawking and gaggling for a while here. Anybody want to add anything before we will do a nice, easy one, and then we can hang out and BS afterwards?
Never got any questions?
You know what? I can't get it to work, man.
Yeah.
Anybody watching this knows how to do this with the questions and stuff. I was on Andy 2D6's show, and he told me how to do it, and I don't know. And I'm looking on Family Gamers right now. It's not even on there yet, but it was playing. It just, you know, I have no idea. Let me see. I'm going to try to see if we get any questions.
Or if people have questions, put it in the posts on Facebook. It'll pop up on our things, and we can see them on there too. Because both me and Coach put posts up. So if you have a question, throw them in there.
Yeah, and if you know, or send it to Rob, because he seems to be a little bit more savvy with that. I would say send it to Jack, but...
Well, Rob did send me a link from Facebook, and I was trying to get in, and it wouldn't let me. As soon as he sent me another link that was, I don't know, it didn't say from Facebook and whatever.
Yeah, I copied the link that you sent me, but Facebook adds like a thing to it. So annoying.
And it was telling me, hey, you want to get Facebook? Let's get you all hooked up. And I'm like, I don't want Facebook. And I was like, okay, well then how well, then you go out on the street like an orphan because we don't care. So I just was floating around until Rob sent me that other link. Yeah, it's sad but true.
Daria said she put up a few questions up on Facebook, or I mean on YouTube. Did you see them there, Coach?
I don't know. I can't see it. I'm working on it.
I'll look on YouTube.
Hang out, Daria. I'm working on it, Daria. I'm trying.
I'm trying my best.
I just don't know. All right, hold on. Here we go.
Oh, yeah. If you hear some questions.
Well, I'm trying. I think I got it. See, it's a lot easier when I tap into the matrix, but now it's very tough.
You want to read them there, Coach?
When it stops loading. Oh, here we go. All right. All right, so here we go. Now, Linda, try not to piss me off here. Here we go. I think a tournament restriction, especially compositions, limitations are ridiculous. I agree. A tournament is a great setting to really stress test the game, make changes afterwards. You don't hinder someone's fun or make them travel and pay for an event and then nerf them. I agree, 1,000%. I agree with Adam that the game should be fixed. If it's broken at the time of an event, then let's play and listen to feedback afterwards. Absolutely. Because, you know, you pay $1,000 to go to Adepticon, and then you get there, and it's like, you know that list you've been play testing and all this stuff? Screw you guys.
Yeah.
You know?
Although it is fine if it's explained months in advance, like in the tournament pack. But I know just from my own personal experience, I've seen lots of people show up on the day of the tournament because they're the drop-ins, and they're like, oh, I didn't realize that was a restriction, and then they drop out of the tournament, causing a buy situation, and it's just, yeah.
Yeah, that's just dirty, man. That's just you just don't do that.
Yeah.
Especially for Deadzone, because there's not that many people playing it. You don't want to limit people coming in late and trying to try it out and have fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, I got to tell you, when I went to Adepticon the first year when I was playing, my first opponent, who actually won Kings of War tournament with his daughter, I forgot his name. I got it here. He was one of the play testers. I forgot his name, but anyway, he never played Deadzone before. He learned the rules the night before, and I was saying that like I came to win, and he decided not to, and he really like slow played. But then I found out because I know he's friends with Pat, and he said that no, he doesn't slow play you. It's just that's the way he plays. He takes his time, and I just said that if you're going to go to a tournament, you should be prepared. You shouldn't just just pick up the game and go. I think you got to be a little bit more conscious of your opponent, and bring your best. You bring your A game.
Or you have
Sorry, go ahead, Rob.
No, go ahead.
Well, it kind of goes back to what we were saying. It's like it's about that mutual play experience, right? You want to have a situation where I'm trying to make the game more enjoyable for you, and then vice versa, because that'll make the overall experience like amazing. If it's always I'm only out for me, and the other gamers like it's only out for me for them as well, then it really creates like this antisocial Magic the Gathering environment, right? Where with miniature games, I've always felt like it's a social activity. We're out there, we're looking each other in the face, we're making jokes, cracking wisecracks, and having a good time, but still being competitive and fun. So I think that's the real goal, I guess.
Or you could also have two tiers for a tournament. You have, like we said before, a narrative tournament, which it's more fun. You get new players in on that. And then a serious tournament, which is like experienced guys purposely, they want to play because they want to see who's the best,
Yeah, as long as they're matching expectations.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, but I kind of like the fact that I go there to kick somebody's teeth in.
Yeah, that's why you'd play the serious comp, and then
right. But
other people play the narrative.
I'm not. Listen, I'm not going there to screw around, man. I spent a lot of money. I want to try to win the trophy. I mean, the year I went, I was supposed to win the Blaine, and I ended up winning the plaque, which I think the plaque was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, the plaque's awesome.
Yeah, the plaque was awesome. But I'm saying I went, we went to win. I mean, we were prepared to win. Myself, and two other guys I brought. There was no BS. One of us was going to win. We knew one of us was going to win.
Yeah, but I think it always does kind of boil down to that. At the end of the day, we are just playing with toy soldiers. At the end of the day, I mean, we can get as competitive and as as cutthroat as we want, but at the end of the day, we are just playing a game of toy soldiers.
Mm-hmm. But I could put those toy soldiers in a pillowcase and beat you to death with them too. So
this is true. I mean, this is the Canadian that's coming out. So
yeah, he's from New York. He's serious.
Yeah, no, I listen. You don't bring a knife to a gunfight.
Oh, of course not.
And a lot of people's fun is being serious and seriously seeing who's the best. And that you just have to, like you say, set it up at the beginning in the tournament description. Say this is for serious players. You're gonna get your ass kicked. Come and see if you can survive. Like make sure everybody knows what they're getting into. And not be upset if they get destroyed.
But if you're going there and you're the minnow and you jump in the middle of the sharks and you're like, oh my God, this is terrible, you kind of know what you're getting into.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And they should offer other things for beginners, like a narrative campaign or at least a little lighter tournament, just so that you can have new players come in and not just get destroyed and never want to play the game again. Get them playing the game and thinking, this is fun. And maybe they turn into the people who want to seriously get into it and play constantly like you are, Coach.
Yeah.
Right, like a rookie tournament.
Because it comes back to fostering that community aspect, right? Because, I mean, we are there to win, we are there to have fun, but at the end of the day, we are trying to grow a community, and, I mean, only one person can win, right? So, I mean, the most successful tournaments have always been the ones that, say, yes, there can only be one winner, but, thank you for everyone else for coming out, and we're going to make it worth your time in other ways to have a good time too.
Yeah, everybody gets a trophy and make you feel good, no hurt feelings, and go
not
home.
For participate, not for
jump
participation.
Jump rope without a jump rope, so nobody feels bad because they can't really jump rope. Now, listen, a competition is a competition. Next year we go to Adepticon. There's going to be about 8 of us, right? The crew is going to get together. We're going to have the big powwow. We're all going to play games, and it's going to be fun as hell. But then when the tournament's on the line, the nice guy you see before you is gone, and I'm going for blood.
Which is totally fine in that environment.
And I'm being honest. Because I would love to win again.
That's your fun, and there's other people who have the same idea as fun. That's not my idea of fun. That's your idea of fun. That's great.
Listen, if I don't win, I'm cool with that too. You know, I can. You know, if I get beat, I shake the guy's hand. I'm cool with it. But in the meantime, you know, you're getting in there. You know, I want to put my foot in your face, and you know, I mean, afterwards we could buy each other beers and hang out and smoke a cigar and whatnot. But at the time, you know, hey, listen, I coach a lot of sports.
Oh yeah.
Kids get hurt, and like my heart goes out. We were playing. No, I mean on the opposite team.
Yeah.
This year we were playing we were in the championship match of rugby, right?
Mm-hmm.
The kid, one of my guys hit the guy. Kid goes up in the air. He falls, and where he fell all discombobulated, and stayed there. And I knew right away something was wrong, right? Definite concussion. I've never seen 20 years I'm coaching. Kid's eyes roll back of his head, and I run out there and I'm trying to help him, and all these guys are like Aussies and Kiwis, and they're all from England because they all no worries, no worries, no worries. And the one head guy comes over to me and goes, I knew it was bad. He said, how'd you know? He says, when I saw your face, I knew it was bad. Okay. So now the kid's on the field. I'm trying to help him. You call an ambulance, use this. Now he's from the other team, which doesn't really matter. This one guy who comes over, who was really a pain in the ass, right? You know, this pretty boy comes over. He goes, Raw, what we're going to do is we're going to pick him up and we're going to put him on the side so we can play the game. I said, don't touch him. He goes, no, Raw, Mike, we'll pick him up. No worries, no worries. No, I said, this is New York and we worry about everything. Keep your hands off the kid and don't worry about it. I'll take care of him. He's on the field. But we have to play the game.
His ass suit off if the kid gets seriously injured.
Right. So I go like this. So he goes, Coach, you're in the championship game right now. We got to continue. And that was only like 3 minutes into the game. I said, look, I'll forfeit the game right now. Let the other team win because this young man's life is more important to me at this point in time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And all the parents walked over to me and they were like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you said that." I says, "No, we got to help this guy. We can play this game tomorrow. Not a big deal.
It's not that serious."
Correct. But now when he ended up, he was fine. Got him on the ambulance and left. And then I brought my guys in and I go, "Listen, that was the thing. We're going to pray for him and we're going to do this. But in the meantime, let's go out there and kick the shit out of these guys."
Yeah.
Because now it was time to play, and now the other team was all really they were hyped up, and we ended up winning, the whole thing. We ended up winning the championship. But at the time, the most important thing was I was trying to take care of that guy. So like I said, winning isn't the end all be all. It is playing the game, but you also play the game. If in a tournament you're there to win, and if you're there to just, hey man, I don't care if I win or lose. Then don't bitch and moan when you do.
Yeah.
And don't be in the tournament.
Yeah.
Correct.
Go play friendlies. Like go play with they should always have open tables to play. They should have them set up for Deadzone. Anybody can walk up and play anybody else. They should have that for sure. They had extra tables too.
I could see me in the tournament and you guys on the side playing a few guys that are just trying out, almost like giving demos.
Yep. Or just playing for fun.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
But if you're in a tournament, it's serious. You want to win, yeah.
Well, and it's also in a tournament. It's also a respect thing as well because I want to do my best in a tournament, so that way I'm giving my opponent a really fair and also really competitive game as well.
Yeah.
Like I want to give them the best competitive experience that I'm able to provide as well.
Yeah, that's the point of it. It's to see who's the best. And you have to be both being competitive to each other for sure.
Yeah.
Right. You're gonna go to a football game and say, you know what? Just to be fair, we're taking our MVP quarterback and we're gonna bench him this game, so it'll give you guys a chance. That's never gonna happen. Bring your A game. I think that's the way to go. And then if it is a WAC list, then it's a WAC list. The only thing that's nice about Deadzone at this point in time is certain things are better than others, but slightly.
Yeah, it's not a huge difference.
No.
I think the dice are more important than any model. Like it's how your dice are rolling. If you can win with anything as long as your dice are rolling well.
So actually, Rob, that actually brings up a really good point. So how much do you feel like the command dice, like they are a random element in the game, but I feel like a person who uses their command dice, I guess you could say more intelligently at the moment, compared to the other person, like I think most of the time I end up losing my games because I'm like, okay, I'll re-roll this result, but then I get a useless result that I don't actually use when I should have just kept the previous result and got something out of it.
Yeah, it's to know when to use them. That's the key. Is
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it matters who you're playing too. Like Coach always says, if you're playing the Marauders, use them as quick as possible because they're going to steal them from you. But yeah, sometimes you're like, okay, I won't use this fight yet, and then you end up not being able to use it because you didn't. You have to really see when you want to use everything, and combo stuff around, and
the splats never show up until you can't use them. Then you can't roll with them. Yeah, they're all over the place. But when you really want them, or when you're setting yourself up for it, you never.
Well,
yeah.
You know what it is too. Like in version 1, I almost never had cards in my hands. And then you'd get the surge card, like, oh, thank God, because I just tried to get rid of my cards in command dice within the first few activations because it's advantageous to use them. You don't want to get caught, all right, round 2, and you have 3 command dice out of 5. You just don't want to be stuck with them. I mean, granted, like like Adam said, you re-roll them, and you're looking for a move and a shoot, and you get 2 fights. You get stuck with it, but
yeah, always try to use them for sure.
Yeah, use them ASAP, man. And honestly, I'm not getting hung up. As I've been playing, when I did all the videos evaluating the different leaders, one of the things was, what is the splat? But at this point in time, the splat is so minimal, and I hardly ever get them. I don't even worry about it anymore. I look more to the other 4 things out of the 5. Because if this leader is awesome, it's awesome. Like the Chief Brocker. But he's got the worst rule in the game. That's the Leprechaun rule, I call it, where he... I don't like this thing. Let me pick another one. Let me pick another item. And everybody's like, well, what if you get the intel? You know how hard it is to pull an intel? You know what I mean? Like
8, 1 in I don't know how many boxes there are. 1 in 20 chance or whatever it is.
Right. And I know there's 2 of them, but the chance of him not being on the table and in the dead zone, in the dead pile. I'm not the dead pile. The pile he didn't use yet. It's just I'm at the point now where I'm not even worried about splats. And I'll tell you what, I'll probably even re-roll the splats. If I get a splat on a re-roll, I'm stuck with it. So
unless I'm purposely thinking to use it, like the armor one, where you're like, okay, I know I'm gonna get shot this round. I better keep that one to give myself +1 armor. It's only when you really think you're going to use them, but most of the time I think the other things are more useful. Extra shooting or extra fighting or extra die is way more useful than most of the abilities in the splats.
Yeah.
So, and they're all useful. That's the good thing about it. There's no die that's usually like, okay, I really don't want to get that. Like extra activations are maybe one of the least useful ones, but Jack loves them. It's usually because he has 1,000 people in his army, but still.
Well, if you have a big army, yeah, but if you're running an elite list, a lot of times, I like to play elite lists. 6 or 7 models, what's the point of having a +1 activation?
Yeah. Although they are really good for that turn where you're like, I want him dead. I want him dead now.
Yeah.
It's like
everybody on him,
yeah.
But the main thing too is I've been playing Veerman a lot, and hoarding them out, having the extra activation makes a big difference. Because if you could sprint the guy up and then get him into combat, it's almost like a free move and combat.
Mm-hmm.
Which is pretty cool.
The Veerman, I like the Veerman. I think I haven't played them yet, but I've got them all painted up. I'm looking forward to it. And I think that's the team I'm going to really enjoy when we get some time just to play just some fun knock-around games.
They are really cool, and what's nice? It's a combat army with actually combat-oriented guys. The nightmares and I tried the wiener cannon, but I forgot to use it.
Forgot to put it on the board.
Yeah, we saw that in the battle report.
You saw that, right?
You still won, though, so it doesn't matter.
That was the weirdest thing. I played a horde army, forgot the wiener cannon, and I won the battle report with an infiltration mission. Three things I never do, and I did it in that game. So
well, and Andrew's dice were like terrible though. I'd never seen such bad dice.
you know what it was? The worst part was Andrew wasn't rolling. Georgie was rolling for him.
That's true. It's goblins. They can't hit anything.
They can't hit anything.
What would you add to the Marauders? I've been thinking about this, like looking through some of the factions, and as you know, some of them don't have models, and you know maybe they're limited in terms of like the diversity of sculpts. Like the Marauders are very commando focused right now. What would you add to like to spruce up maybe just the visual and maybe the play style of the Marauders?
More Hulks.
I think the Marauders are fine. I really
don't think they're underpowered. I just think that, like maybe, I don't know. I feel like why wouldn't I just take a bunch of commandos and mobbies? I guess.
Because the Ripper suits are really good.
Are pretty awesome.
Yeah, they're pretty sweet.
The Hulk is awesome.
The only thing that I don't like are the snipers. They're too small. You can't see anything with them. You put them behind a barricade, you can't see anything. They have no line of sight.
And you know what's funny about them? Their sniper rifle is range 8 AP1 heavy sniper scope. They actually have a heavy weapon.
AP1, still better than the Enforcers. Every single person is better equipped than the Enforcers.
It's almost comical at this point.
It is at this point. It is comical. It is.
Like the biggest running joke is that.
I think it must be like a corporate. When they get corporate contracts and the cheapest person wins. I think that's what this is. It was that weapons company was the cheapest to bid, and all the other ones sold them to everybody else, all the good weapons, and then the Enforcers got the cheap bid, the worst weapons.
Yeah, well, it's like when you buy a product in a store and it looks flashy and everything, but then it's garbage. But then like the cheap no name brand is like significantly better.
Yep, that's them.
That's the one like they're all sitting around and he goes, the Goblin Sniper goes, oh look at my thing, it's got AP1, and Enforcer, how's yours? He goes, well it's heavy, it's got a sniper scope, but it doesn't have AP1.
It's got range though. Yeah.
And they all laugh at him. Boy, that was delayed, man. I had it all ready to go, and it just. Hey, wait! Sniper rifles, Enforcer snipers don't have AP1. There you go.
It is a joke.
I'll be here all week.
But they, whatever. I'm over it. Pathfinder snipers, they're the way to go now.
Are you sure though? I mean, the tag rifle's so it's so interesting. I mean, yeah, you could throw a sniper on it, but then you're losing out on those the tag abilities.
Yeah, but you get +2 dice every turn with the sniper rifle.
There is no reason.
They shoot on 3s, I think, or 4s.
4s.
I think you shoot on 4s, yeah.
There's no reason to take a Pathfinder sniper.
What?
2 dice.
Nope.
You rather have
That's
tanks?
New thing. That's his new baby.
All right, here you go. 30 points for a sniper. Okay. Tag rifle on a Pathfinder is 15 points, halfway. I'll take 2 of those guys with one less dice per guy. But if I'm taking 2 guys, I'm getting 4 dice, so that's a total of 8 dice as opposed to 5.
I guess so.
Well, yeah. And isn't it also just 5 dice if you're higher up? So like, if your Pathfinder is higher up, you'd get +1, and then you would have the tag ability as well.
Right.
So then that's the same as a sniper anyway.
Well,
but if you put a sniper on higher level too, that's 3 dice.
Yeah, you're getting 6.
Yeah, so I guess it's the cost, right?
But then if I roll the extra dice on the commander.
Well, that's like when we were saying on that gold of a podcast, which is called the team building exercise, when we're talking about the Rebs, you realize that giving your Rebel sniper leader a sniper rifle increases the points to 6. Increases her cost to 16 points. For 16 points, you could just take another sniper.
Yeah, that's the bad part. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying instead of taking either a Pathfinder sniper or even just a regular enforcer sniper, 16, and what's a sniper rifle? 12. So you're at 28 points. I could basically take 2 Pathfinders for 30. For 2 extra points, I'm getting another guy and an extra 4 dice. It's definitely worth it.
And the best thing, those guys are troops too, which is nice.
Right.
Yeah.
So
what's your thoughts on the long rifle for like the basic guys, like pushing them from 7 points to 10, range 8 instead of, I believe, what are they, 5 or 6?
Applesauce.
Yeah.
Unless you're playing multiple mats, the range over 6 doesn't matter. In the first round, you're going to be able to shoot anything anyways.
But then you don't have to move and shoot. You could just camp in the deployments.
Well, you want to get higher.
Oh, yeah, I guess, yeah.
Unless there's stuff in the deployment.
It's hard to camp out in Deadzone.
Oh, yeah,
I really, it's not a viable strategy. You have to have you can put, I think, a third of your army camping, but the rest of your army's got to be out hunting. You can't just have them. You can't have them camping. You just can't. It doesn't work. Yeah.
No line of
Especially on
sight.
missions.
Yeah. Yeah, because I find that every time that you put somebody out to camp, they get a good line of sight of one spot. The people just don't go in that area. They just go somewhere else, right?
Well, you walk into that thing, somebody shoots you in that your buddy in the head. You don't go back into that cube.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, let's wrap this up, fellas. So, Adam, you want to tell us where you're at? I know you have 9 trillion different things.
Oh my gosh, too many things, too many pods. Yeah,
well,
no. So, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. So currently, I've been taking a bit of a break because we've been short-staffed at work, so the workload has been a little more intense than I'm used to. And so yeah, basically, we're doing podcasts, trying to resume them. I'm going to be starting up a Deadzone podcast in the coming months here. And he wasn't on with us tonight, but actually have a friend, Robert, who is interested in actually podcasting about Deadzone, and he's from the Combat Phase podcast. And I'm hoping to get the other shows up and running as well, and get back to a regular schedule, hopefully in September.
Can't wait.
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
What's the TDA on the Deadzone podcast?
We're still working through it. I got the concept art for the logo, which is cool. We're going to be joining the Freebooters Network. Terrace really wants, he's really excited about the idea of having a Deadzone podcast on the Freebooters, and
quick, Rob, call Terrace, quick, tell him.
No, Adam's friends with him. He's in there.
Oh, yeah.
Because he went on that tour with him. That's why. I got you. All right, I got you.
No, I knew Terrace years before that, but yeah, I'm really excited to do that, and actually, yeah. So I'm hoping to do some more Dreadball too, because I'm really jazzed up by the second edition of the game, and I want to see where the game goes.
Have you seen rules for the second edition yet?
Just bits and pieces, nothing really concrete. Just what everyone else has seen on the internet.
Yeah, I'm just curious how much it's changing.
I mean, they're adding things, and they're clarifying, like they're splitting the speed stat into 2 different stat lines, and keepers becoming more like a goalie, like in hockey, which is nice. Yeah, I can approve of that. And yeah, just a whole bunch of interesting things, like team customizations getting a little more advanced, where you can upgrade a player to a captain, which can also be like an MVP character. So that'll add a lot of diversity into the game as well. And yeah, that's all really what we know right now.
Cool.
Oh, and I guess the new robot team, I think from what I read, was before the game begins, you can just choose to permanently increase one of your stats, I think, is what I read.
Instead of changing every turn or whatever?
Yeah, it's just at the start of the game, you say, okay, I'm playing against this team, I'm going to change the stat on everybody, like speed, but +1.
Yeah, because before they could change in the game, right?
Well, I mean, that's a different robot team, but yeah.
Oh, it's going to be, they're still going to be around? Okay.
Yeah, we're going to have 3 different robots.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, because the other robot team was tough because they would like morph into something in front of you. So it's like he would all of a sudden turn into a jack in front of you, and you know, it was a lot of bookkeeping in that.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll have to see how it shakes out, and I know a lot of people are worried about, you know, what's the playtesting for the new edition going to look like? You know, how broken or how can we take the balance and make it more like Deadzone, where it's, you know, the differences are very minor. Where Dreadball is a good game, but you know, there's a couple teams that stand out for sure. So we'll have to see how that changes.
The Z's?
The easy button? Yeah. No. They definitely are not the easy button.
All right, so you know what? We got one more question. We'll hit the one more question before we get the step in here. It says, Skinnykin 1. How are people determining their strike teams in tournaments or even regular play? After the mission is given, are you each choosing one unit at a time, seeing what the other player chooses, or one team chooses, then the other one, or is it pure blind pick where you both choose strike teams not knowing what you're up against?
Are they asking, like, what is it currently that people do?
Yeah, what are we doing?
Me and Jack build our armies before the mission. We don't look at the mission. We don't look at each other's armies. We just build armies and then fight each other.
Yeah, and whatever you get for your secret mission or whatever, if we're doing that at the time, then you roll with it.
Yep, roll with the punches.
Right, that's what we do. You make 200 points because you know it's not worth playing any other point value, and then you know, you roll for your mission, and then we roll for secret mission, and I have a I have a thing that says what your mission is, and then round 1, round 2, round 3, and we keep track of it that way. So like when we do our battle report, so when we're putting it on YouTube, it's easier every round, and we write everything down because I don't know what a secret mission is, and then you're not going to remember what the score was in round 2, round 3.
Yeah.
So we keep track of it that way, and then I put the 2 sheets together. Then when I'm making the video, I add everything up and put it in. So
a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. But the thing is, 200 points, get there. Infiltration mission. All my guys are 1-1. Crap. Yeah. What am I gonna do? You know, I like it that way. Just like you said, you make your list and run with it.
Yeah.
You know,
here's kind of a random.
I don't like that. Customizing it to the mission. I like it.
Yeah.
Make it work.
Yeah. Here's kind of a random thought. Why not have something where, depending on what leaders are taken, so like if you take a plague general, and I don't know, Rob takes like the rebel captain, depending on which characters you take, kind of selects the mission for you, I guess you could say. Like there would have to be a process to figure that out, but having the missions reflect what strike forces are in play.
That's interesting, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know how you would do it, but interesting.
That seems like a daunting task right there.
Yeah, up for the challenge.
Yeah, someone out there do that, and we'll play it. How's that?
Yeah.
That sounds great.
Send it to Tremblay, sexylover at AOL.net.com. All right, so Rob and Jake, where you at?
Deadzone?
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
I was just going to say Deadzone, the podcast. Where are you, Jack?
I'm making a website on Geocities.
Geocities.
I found a lovely little GIF of a hamster and one of a banana. It's gonna be the next thing. So you all just you find that, and yeah, that's where I am. That's where I spend my time.
Just gonna be sitting back and cashing checks, right?
That's right. That's right. You all come. You all say, "Look at that guy. He's the king of the internet. That guy right there."
Well, don't forget the thing that is the most gracious and lovely thing you could do to your ears would be team building exercise.
That is true. Yes.
Every last Wednesday of the month.
Yeah.
So this month.
I will be honest. When I listened to the episode, I was like, man, I'm glad this is out now because I had to go work at another newspaper in another town, and it was such a relief to have like a podcast available. So thank you for putting that out.
Good timing.
It's really it's great.
Yeah, that is a lot of fun to do, though. Make a list and figure it out, and
Just see the
always
differences.
conversations.
and it's funny too. We started with Rebs, and now next one is Asterians.
Asterians.
And I don't know if you guys and the Asterians, and I don't know if you want to reveal the next one or should we let them wait for it?
We should let them wait for it.
Yeah, that's right. Screw you guys. Come back.
You
But,
gotta listen to the episode to find out.
It was funny because the Asterians, all three of us just don't really play them, so it was a labor of love, that one.
Yeah.
I think it turned out good though. I think we all had an epiphany.
I think it was. You know what? It was good though. I like the fact that we all get together and we compare things, and then we figure it out. Because as we were talking, I'm like, you know what? That was a good thing. Jack brought up some really good points. Oh, Rob brought up some really good points. Oh, you know what? The sniper rifle is really good. We're not going to take it, but it's really good. And just by sparking a conversation, sparks an idea, and then you take yourself down a road you don't know about, and it makes your list building ability better.
Yep, especially even with the Rebs.
Yeah,
We changed our minds.
You don't play.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun time. So that'll be out the end of the month.
Mm-hmm.
And Georgie is all greased up and ready to go.
He's a character.
He's a character. I think he got a little bit more involved than we would have liked in this one, but he was keeping us honest, keeping us in check, especially Jack.
Yeah, apparently I'm the one that can't be trusted yet. I don't know.
He took a lot of
green
offense to
M&Ms.
that.
The green M&Ms in your dressing room just is a pain, but you make them do it. All right, guys. So we'll wrap this up. Thank you for watching the Deadzone Monthly. I tried to keep us on tangent, but of course we are the kings of tangent jumping. So leave your comments below. We'll get back to you. Listen to the podcasts. Adam's podcasts are awesome. Deadzone the podcast is awesome. Family of Gamers is bringing up the rear with the gear. So take care, everybody. Have a great night.
See ya.